three areas of government that I think are very important as far as our state funding is concerned is education, our roads and bridges, and health and safety. I think that we need to seriously look at how we can funnel more money into these three core services that the government was set up to handle, instead of putting money into areas that are not as essential as these areas.
In the state government, there's certain things that have to be funded, and I think one of those is public education. We need to have education available to everybody, regardless of who they are, whether or not they can afford it. I certainly like private education. I think that's good, but there has to be availability of public education. We have to fund public safety. That's important. We have to fund infrastructure. Our roads and bridges have to be taken care of. That's vital to the growth of our state. And then I think health and human services would be another issue that's important.
I think that it's very important that as a state legislator we look at lowering the state's income tax. But my plan would be to make sure that it is revenue neutral. For every dollar that we can cut from our state government, that should be $1 back in the taxpayer's pocket. We need to look at that in areas that are wasting government, eliminating a lot of duplication of services. We have a lot of areas that are losing money, so we need to try to put the money back in the taxpayer's pocket. This would be a phase out over many years without compromising any of our core government services. I don't want to see money taken away from education, our roads and bridges, and health and safety. And I think that there is a way that we can do that to where it is efficient and we can help the citizens have more money that will circulate in the local economy as well as help the state government revenue.
Tax.
Well, I think all of us would like to pay lower taxes. You just ask anybody. Well, let's pay lower taxes. And I think that lower taxes does stimulate the economy and offer stability. I think we have to be careful we just don't pull the rug and say, okay, we're going to drop all of this, and then we find ourselves in a big shortfall and not be able to pay for things like education, infrastructure, and public safety. I would suggest that we lower it gradually and see what happens. I know the logic is that we lower it and it's going to produce more business and to offset that lack of income that would be there from lowering the taxes. I think we have to be very careful that we don't say we're lowering the taxes and turn around and add it on ad valorem tax, or that we, the one I heard the most about was seniors, where somebody suggested we put it on Social Security and pensions. We don't want to say we're going to take away from one and then put it on somebody else. I think what we need to be sure that we're doing is to make sure we stop wasteful spending. I think we need to try to keep, there's some areas of government departments that are overlapping. I think we need to try to streamline those. And there's also some subsidies given for groups that probably we could cut back on as well.
I'm a strong believer in the 10th Amendment. I believe that our state should stand up for our rights and try to live within our means instead of relying on the federal government. Because it seems like every time we get the federal government involved, then our priorities have to change, because their mandates will require what they want us to do versus what we feel like we really need to do. And I am a strong proponent of getting back to local control, that's the states, and so that we're not relying on federal government dollars.
Your question about the relationship of the state and the federal government is interesting, because we were just talking about the Civil War, and part of that was fought over whether or not states could secede from the Union. You may remember your history, I'm sure you do, of early in our country there was a lot of discussion about how much powers the federal government had versus how much the states had, and that was a very serious issue. I think that the U.S. Constitution does limit the federal government and then say the rest is left up to the states. The Constitution, the 10th Amendment, limit the federal government. And I think that we keep looking to the federal government to solve all of our problems. I guess my question is, where does the federal government get its money? Well, it comes from the people. The big issue, I believe, is something like Obamacare that I think has trumped on the individual rights and states' rights and coming down from the top, where I don't think it I don't think it should happen.
But for almost the last year, I have been traveling throughout District 3, and I have learned a lot about the citizens, the elected officials, and the needs and concerns of the communities throughout this district. Now, it's important to me that I visit with each and every voter that I can possibly get to, because you are important. You are the people, and I will be working for you. The last year, I have met some wonderful people throughout this district, and I have learned that we have got to address those concerns and make sure that rural Oklahoma is well represented in Oklahoma City. We have a great concern for infrastructure needs, as well as our roads and bridges and school funding. I will be up there fighting to make sure that our voice is not lost. I believe that I have proven myself for the last year addressing those needs, helping the south end of Delaware County get ambulance service started, as well as having a piece of legislation that has been signed into law by Governor Fallin. I look forward to going to Oklahoma City and working for the citizens of District 3. And I hope that June 26th that you will go out and cast your ballot, your vote for me. Thank you.
I have spent my life in service to people. In the church, it's more than just preaching on Sunday. I have had people walk in the door of my office. They're needing a place to stay, they're needing a job, they're needing a car, whatever. And I've joked with my secretary, do you see a sign out there that says car lot or business or employment agency or real estate? But we try to help people with the problems they have. We try to help people on a personal level. So I think I'm familiar with the problems that people are facing on a daily basis. That, I think, gives me some understanding of the people I represent. The area is largely rural, and I spent my early life on the farm, and I enjoy the farm. Like working outside, and I have an appreciation for the farmer because they do feed us. And I would say that I really want to serve the people. And I have not only experience, I have a wide range of education. I only have seminary degrees. I have a degree from the university in education. I have 36 hours of college math, which was my first teaching field. So we have a lot of variety and experience.